All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating framework that literally hacks our biological wiring. We're looking at a concept called floating, which was developed by Gopal Norbert Klein. Basically, it's a method that uses group dynamics to heal trauma and build profound human connection. So if you've ever wondered why traditional talk therapy sometimes just kind of hits a brick wall, or how our deepest nervous system responses are secretly governing our relationships, you're going to find this incredibly insightful. Here's a quick roadmap for this explainer. We're going to look at the biology of connection, what floating actually is, how to create a genuinely safe space, and finally, the markers of true transformation. Kicking things off with Section 1, the biology of connection. To give you a quick TLDR before we get into the weeds, we are mammals. And because we're mammals, our nervous systems biologically require a pack to feel safe. Your brain is evolutionarily wired to view isolation as a massive stressor. So, to your body, being alone is a literal threat, and social interaction, that's the ultimate cure. Let's look at how the source material breaks this down. This quote right here brilliantly captures the core of Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory, which this whole framework leans on heavily. It says, there is no solution or cure for us alone, but being connected is the cure. Why is that? Well, historically, being part of a group meant survival. Being excluded literally meant death out in the wild. So connecting with others actually reaches all the way down and calms the most ancient deep layers of our nervous system. Now imagine a coordinate cross that basically maps out your entire nervous system. On the horizontal axis, you're navigating between proximity and distance. Then on the vertical axis, you move through different energy states, from feeling totally safe and connected, down into defensive circuits like attack or escape, or even further down into total immobilization or freezing. Every single interaction you have is just your nervous system plotting a point on this graph, constantly calculating, hey, is it safe to approach this person or do I need to retreat? So wrapping up this section, the crucial takeaway here is that profound security through human connection isn't just some nice, warm, and fuzzy feeling. It's a fundamental physical, biological requirement for our nervous system. If we actually want to heal, we have to signal safety to one another so we can connect without setting off those deep evolutionary alarm bells. Moving right along to Section 2, what is floating? Here is our TLDR, and honestly, the core paradox for this part. How on earth can complete passivity actually resolve deep-seated developmental trauma? We're going to explore how doing absolutely nothing can sometimes do way more than intensely overanalyzing all of our problems. The term floating literally translates to, well, to float or to drift. The author actually compares it to one of those saltwater floating tanks where you lie back and the water is so dense with salt that it just effortlessly carries you. You don't paddle, you just let go. In a therapeutic sense, floating is a group process built on that exact same complete passivity. The group field basically acts as that salt water, safely carrying the participants, dissolving their rigid boundaries, and guiding them right back to a natural state of being. It honestly helps to look at what floating isn't to really understand what it is. It completely ignores past narratives. You aren't rehashing old trauma stories, you're not analyzing symptoms, and you're definitely not stressing about future problem solving. It just completely bypasses our mind's obsession with creating stories. Instead, what floating is an incredibly strict focus on the here and now. It relies purely on the honest sharing of present moment body perceptions to create a regulating field in the group. To anchor this section, just remember this. Floating doesn't heal by digging up old wounds. It heals by creating an immediate, radically honest, present moment connection. By simply sharing exactly what's happening in your body right now, you can actually resolve early childhood suffering with incredible accuracy and reestablish your nervous system's completely natural state. Okay, so with that concept locked in, let's jump into Section 3, creating a safe space. The TLDR before we get into the mechanics is simply this. True transformation is utterly impossible unless your autonomic nervous system is 100% convinced the physical room you're in is absolutely secure. You literally cannot trick the nervous system. It demands practical, physical proof of safety. And there are strict, non-negotiable rules in the handbook to achieve this. Step 1. The room must be locked from the outside so 0 surprise visitors can wander in. Step 2. The doors have to be open from the inside, meaning anyone can leave silently at any time with 0 explanations needed. Step 3. Basic biological needs like hunger, thirst, and access to a restroom must explicitly be met. Why? Because only when the physical space is undeniably protected can your nervous system finally look around and say, okay, we're actually safe. Drop its defenses, and just relax. Once you have that rock-solid physical safety established, the communication rules kick in. This quote is a massive cornerstone of the text. Thoughts can never be reality. There is no connection between thoughts and the reality of our lives and experiences. So within this locked, safe room, participants learn to stop communicating through mental concepts. You don't say, "You're acting aggressive." Instead, you share honest bodily sensations. You say, "I feel a tightening in the back of my neck," or "I feel sad." You speak physical truths, not analytical accusations. Wrapping up Section 3, establishing a safe space means practically locking the outside world out, letting the nervous system physically relax, and shifting all of your communication away from mental stories and right into actual present moment body perceptions. That's what actually shapes true closeness and distance. All right, home stretch. Let's dive into Section 4, markers of true transformation. Our TLDR here is basically a question of observation. How do we actually know when the nervous system has healed its relationship patterns? What are the tangible, visible shifts in a group when this profound safety has actually been achieved? Well, transformation isn't just some abstract idea. It's highly visible. Therapists are trained to look for very specific physical cues. You'll literally start to notice relaxed faces. People's physical movements become noticeably slower. And fascinatingly, participants will just start talking intensively with each other without needing the therapist to intervene or guide them at all. When it's working, everything just slows down. People display this literal inner glow and start smiling way more frequently. The group stops feeling like a bunch of isolated islands and turns into one flowing, connected field. And it's pretty incredible to note that the ultimate goal of the therapist here is to actually make themselves completely obsolete. The text even suggests that once the group reaches this level of independence, you should honestly just put on some groovy music and let the group dance and regulate each other freely. So our final takeaway for this section is this. You'll know floating has worked when the nervous system calms down so completely that joy, autonomy, and that inner glow just become the new normal. The feeling of isolated distress is completely replaced by genuine, flowing connection. I want to leave you with this brilliantly provocative thought from the author Gopal, right at the end of the text. He says, "Making contact and building relationship is quite easy." And that is exactly what you should take away from this explainer today. We so often think of deep trauma healing and relationship building as this agonizing, endlessly complicated struggle. But if we simply hack our biology by establishing absolute physical safety and just speaking our honest, present moment bodily truths, genuine human connection isn't a struggle at all. It's actually our most natural state. So what would happen if you focus just a little less on the stories in your head and a little more on the physical reality of the present moment?